This week's episode is brought to you by Bay Juice. Bay Juice is 100% Korean pear juice. The Korean pear, if you weren't already aware, is known for speeding up metabolism of alcohol and hence reducing a hangover, meaning more cordials and less hangovers. I kid you not, I'll set the scene. I'm waiting at the front of my house for my mate to come by, swing past to pick me up and have some cordials. I get in the back of the car and all of a sudden he whips out a mysterious juice. He swears that if I take a sip and down this bad boy, I'll wake up clearer, less foggy and ready to attack the next morning. I didn't believe him, but I tried it anyway. A few cordials down, it was time for bed, and on the ride home, I decided to clear my morning schedule because I knew it was going to be rough. The next morning, expecting the feeling of a freight train running through my brain, I was feeling bloody fantastic. That's when I learned a lesson. Bay before you play. Wrapped to be partnering up with such an awesome brand. Two young Aussie entrepreneurs dominating the market and really making an impact. So let's make sure we support them. They are absolutely everywhere. Head into Woolworths, Dan Murphy's and BWS to get your hands on some Bay Juice. And remember, next time before you're ready to let the hair down, bay before you play. The link will also be in the show notes. Check it out. Let's go. Max Gawn, welcome to the Dyl Friends podcast, my friend. This is exciting, this is big, this is huge for the show. Thank you.
Yeah, I've been wanting to come in for a long time. Yeah.
Really?
No, that's what I say every time I rock up to a podcast. No, Tomo wears the t-shirt every single day.
Yeah.
And there's got to be a point where I'm going, well, I've got to go on and see what it's all about.
I have heard that, like, not just from Tomo, but a lot of the times, you know, you're in the podcasting game. We are we are competitors.
Yeah.
Like, I do watch Gus and Gawny and listen avidly. Positive Lingers.
Positive Lingers.
I still don't know what that means, but we will get into that today. I have no idea what it means. But I have heard you've been getting a bit angry when you see people rocking the merch. Is that true?
Your merch or my merch?
Yeah, mine. Oh, you've got merch.
No. Well, we got Positive Lingers key cups.
Yeah.
But no, Tomo wears it every day.
Yeah.
So you just got to. Oh, he's got to branch out at some point.
He does.
I think even his girlfriend wears it every second day as well. Like, it's very Dyl Friends friendly.
Yeah, it is. We do love Adam and Cass. They are big supporters of the show, so shout out to them there for listening. But mate, as I said, it's an honour to have you in the studio. Been a massive fan of your work for a long time. We've never officially met, but I feel like I know you when I've been watching you on TV. You're a friendly guy. You sort of have that impression, like, I feel like we're friends already. Do you get that a lot? Or?
Yeah, I mean, when we first started talking via Insta DMs, which is where most people meet.
It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah. We were already like, hey, mate, how are you? Like,
Yeah.
What'd you do on the weekend? It was very friendly early on.
You know what was really funny, though? Like, I'm a person, obviously, I try and be as accommodating as possible, but sometimes I think it goes against me in a way, because like I was like, just mate, you name your time, and you were sort of like, name your time as well. I was like, no, I'd just rather you
go and
tell me like when you want it. So then it just got to a stage where you just said the time and we just locked it in.
Then I've picked a time that downstairs is closed and it seems like a bad time, so I wish you picked the time.
To be honest, it wasn't the best time, but I'm happy we're here, and I just wanted to make it as easy as possible for you.
Another thing, people always think we have similar eyes. Do you realise that both of us have massive gaps between our eyes?
Yours aren't as big as mine.
Yeah. I'm not sure if you're sensitive about that, so I've just been careful.
No. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm so happy that
and
people...
so does my wife, and she's pregnant, so I'm really worried about what's going to come out. Like, are the eyes going to be really
I got
wide
bullied
apart?
in school like for that. Like, they'd call me a fish and stuff, like, because my eyes were on the side of my head and whatnot. And really weirdly, and thank you for bringing this up, but with the eye thing, my sister just had a baby.
Yes.
And everyone kept coming up to me being like, oh my God, the baby looks so much like you.
Oh, it's a Buckley thing.
And I was like, oh, really? And he's like, yeah, it's like the eyes. They're like out here. My sister doesn't have it, but I do for some reason. So
I was Sid early days at the club.
Sid? Yeah.
Chipper Frawley.
No, I get Sid as well.
Yeah.
Geez, this is all really coming back to me. Yeah, I've tried to block those things out. Sid the sloth. Sometimes people just send me messages on Instagram just like of the photo.
Yeah. I've had them all.
Hey, I'm so happy that we've covered that.
Yeah.
That's something we've got in common. Something else we've got in common is I've just got into my golf. Yeah. And I'm loving it at the moment. And
That's a late bloomer.
Yeah, I'm a real late bloomer. Real late bloomer. And it's probably why I'm not very good. But I've heard officially from many, many people now, as bad as I am, I still don't have the worst slice in Australia.
Oh, you've heard that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
How's that managed to get here?
Mate, it wasn't like one person.
Yeah, right.
So they reckon as your slice is as big as the gap in my eyes.
Yeah, I've got a big slice. I play cover drives when I drive. I'm actually, it's not as bad when I've got my irons.
Yeah.
But the one woods, it's actually pretty good to watch.
Do you, so as I said, I've just got into this. You are a member at Portsea, I play at Northcote. So it's a little bit of a discrepancy,
Slight
of course,
difference.
there in terms of hardness, I suppose. But I nearly line up on like a 45-degree angle.
Yeah. Slicing as well or hooking?
No, I still slice, but I aim like at the left fairway and still landed on the right fairway.
I do something similar. I've got a little bit better at being able to control my slice, but on a par 3, let's say a long par 3, like 180, I'll aim fully out left and use my one wood and just bring it back. So I've hit it 250.
I know what you mean, though, but if you learn to use it, it's actually
it's a fairway
handy.
finder.
Yeah. Interesting. We should play golf.
I'm in a bit of trouble on a tee block with a tree just to the left.
Yeah.
Because then I have to aim straight. You know, those tee blocks where you just literally have to aim straight.
Well, that's the thing with a lot of the courses I play at. They don't have much imagination of the design. They're quite standard golf courses.
No trees.
There is trees, but they're all dog legs to the left.
Yeah.
So it's like, this is just not working for me right now because I need it to the right. I'd probably be off scratch, but instead I hit off, I think, 46, if that's possible. Last thing I want to talk about with golf is you put up on Instagram today playing golf. Looked fantastic, and I'm sure you played really well. Your kit was impeccable. Impeccable? Good word.
That.
Yeah. My question with this is, I have a little bit of...
Impeccable's good, yeah?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. I think so. It's impeccable. I have a thing with golf that I've gotten into now. I have a little bit of OCD in terms of the way things look. And I wanted to know from you, is it okay to mix your club sets and bags? So like your bag, drivers, irons, golf balls, and golf kit. So I have this thing where like, you're with Lululemon, you're a big dog up there now. You're on every poster in Melbourne. I love waving to you every morning and getting that positive lingers vibe.
Yep.
Did I use that in the right context?
Sure.
Okay.
You can use it in any context. That's what's great about it.
Okay.
Yep.
So you're doing this. You're looking fantastic. Talk me through your golf kit. Do you mix and match? Like, don't tell me you're wearing ASIC shoes with different brand. Like what?
Well, Lulu don't do golf shoes.
Okay.
I've just worked out that I've pushed you back to Thursday night and I played golf today. So now you're starting to realise why I pushed you back to night time.
I am working at it, and that's fine.
I tried to do it like I've got meetings and whatnot all day, but
it takes priority.
I played golf. So clubs is all my great friends at Callaway.
Yeah, we love Callaway.
Beautiful people.
Yeah.
And I wore all Lulu kit today.
Nice.
But normally I can change it up a little bit depending on what course I'm at. If I'm at like a nice, I was at St Andrews Beach today, so that was like a nice course, wear some nice Lululemon gear. But then every now and then, I've got a Miami Heat polo,
okay,
which I love, and that's my favorite golf polo. It's not like it's
I
not how you think. I don't have LeBron on my top.
I'm just thinking like LeBron's dunking on your shirt. Yeah,
it's a pretty plain top with just the little logo there. And I actually, funny enough, I played with Ben Simmons' old man. He was in my group, friend of a friend. And I wore the Miami Heat polo that day. And I didn't think anything of it because I wear it to every time I play golf. And he goes, you do realise you wearing that is like me wearing a Carlton top. And I look at him and go, what's going on here? Oh, his son doesn't, because I'm not basketball. I'm like, Ben doesn't play for Miami. And Ben apparently hates Miami Heat. And I've worn a Miami Heat polo and he gave me nothing the whole day. And apparently everyone's saying he's the nicest guy ever. And he plays off 2 and I play off 25. So he already hates me. Yeah. And then I was wearing his son's worst liked polo. And he thought it was me standing up to him going, oh yeah.
Yeah, like a
Ben
flexing
Simmons' old
thing.
man. I'm
Yeah.
going to wear the Heat polo today.
That you didn't put that much thought into it.
No.
That is weird from Ben Simmons' dad, but we do love Ben Simmons. And
so I'm not sure if I got back to Ben, but I'm sorry.
I'm sure it did. I think that's why he's not playing for Australia this year. And you can single-handedly blame that on yourself. Mate, the reason why I wanted to get you in, I did chat about this, I suppose, in the intro.
Yeah.
Just love your vibe. Love your energy.
Yep.
Love your hat. You're at the Stone Island. You're quite swaggy guy. Traditionally, taller people aren't known to be cool. So well done for that.
I had bad mentors like Mark Jomar. Looks good in a suit, but casuals was jeans and runners.
Yeah.
Jake Spencer again wasn't great. So my tall mentors didn't help me out.
Yeah.
So I've got here literally trying to follow Nathan Jones. Yeah. He wears black everywhere.
Yeah.
So you can see a little bit of a black theme. And Melbourne's uniform, like Melbourne, the city's uniform is black.
Yes.
Like everyone wears black. So Yeah, and someone told me Stone Island's a cool hat, so I got a Stone
I
Island
think you're
hat.
cutting yourself short. It's very tied quite well. You've done a good job. Also, though, like you're the captain of Melbourne. You've got restaurants, you've got bars. You love cycling, you love cricket, you love planes.
Yeah, I love planes.
Like you love so much cool shit.
Yeah, I got a plane tattoo.
Why?
And I've no interest in aviation. A tiny bit of interest in aviation.
What's the plane?
It's the plane.
thing?
I find planes so cool.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah, I find myself sitting. There's a little spot at Tullamarine. Tullamarine's not the busiest of airports, but you get one every 10 minutes. You just sit there for a bit. That's pretty cool. Atlanta's the best trip I've done.
So just breaking down the plane chat, because I'm fascinated by this. You like the look of a plane, or you like being on a plane, or you just like what they do? Like they take you places. I like what they do.
I like the idea of it. You know, people are fascinated by ships, going, how can that ship float in that water?
I am fascinated.
I'm fascinated. How can that plane be up in the air? And then to the fascination where I go, that's the Jetstar 42 coming from Gold Coast, lands at 6 p.m.
Do you have the app?
I have the app. Flight radar is unbelievable. And I live down the coast now, and if I see if there's a plane going over my head, I'm like, well, that's a private plane, because we're not on a flight path. So it's good to see the little private planes popping over.
That's pretty. What's the app? Because I need to get this for anyone that needs this app. Do you know? Is it a special app, or can anyone get it?
Flight radar is a pretty basic app. There's some pain apps that I'm not that interested in. Like the names of choppers going past. Choppers don't interest me as much.
No,
flight radar 24 maybe, because hence might be 24 hours.
That's pretty cool.
Mate, you've seen one of those still photos where they show all the planes in the sky at once?
No.
Yeah, it's one of those apps.
Okay.
So you can see, you can go check over Hong Kong if you want.
Something that really does fascinate me, and I don't know why I'm talking about this now, but you know when you are, and this would happen a lot when I was living in Sydney, you'd see a helicopter, and you're like, what the fuck is that helicopter doing? You ever see a police helicopter? It's so fascinating.
Yeah.
Where are they going?
They always have that little blue and red flashing light. And I'm always thinking they're chasing someone. Do you think that when you see a police chopper?
Yeah. Well, I'm assuming they are. I don't think they're doing it.
And you're a little bit worried when it's around your house?
A little bit.
Yeah.
The kind of foil around the head after a big night sometimes. But anyway, we won't go there. You love your cycling. You love your cricket. Talk me through the cycling journey, I suppose, because I have a theory on this. Can I guess why you like cycling?
Yes.
Okay. So... Thank you. I have a feeling you like cycling. Did you get into it through knee injuries?
The actual art of cycling I got into through knee injuries, yes. But me loving the sport was before that.
So you liked it?
But me loving the exercise happened through knees.
Okay. Let's break that down then. So you liked the sport beforehand. I don't feel it's like a traditional thing that a lot of people love. And for me... No offense, I sort of despise it in a way. Like, I think it's the worst exercise ever. Like, I hate it because whenever I do...
on the sport, though?
I don't get it. That's what I want to... I want to know what you like about it because...
Good luck getting it. It's very hard to understand.
But I'm a late bloomer, as you know. I just got into golf, so I reckon I can get into anything. I can embrace it.
I'll give you that.
But when I was playing footy and, like, bike sessions and being a smaller character... You really don't have that torque behind you, and it's so much harder doing a bike session. I used to do bike sessions with like Big Robbie Warnock, Matt Cruiser, who these guys were just long limbs. You know, they can just really cruise on a bike.
Yeah, I've heard. I actually race him in Zwift.
There you go.
You know what Zwift is?
Yes.
It's like an online. It's like Xbox.
You do that
cyclists.
for fun.
Yeah.
That's so strange. I used to do that and cry. I did that at the Giants. But yeah, he's an unbelievable rider. Like apparently some of the numbers that he was pushing out when we were there were like Tour de France type numbers for like a 10-second period.
That come from Neil Craig and Charlie Walsh?
Yes, that Charlie Walsh guy's the scariest guy I've ever met. He made me buy a pair of cleats and I've never used them again.
We had them for a year, Charlie Walsh and Neil Craig. That almost sent me off cycling as well, to be fair.
Yeah.
That was pretty grim.
Yeah, so well, back to my thing, I don't really like it. I've never had a good experience with it. It hurts. So why did you like it? And then why did you get into it?
Our school did bike rides for fun. Like we did Great Victorian Bike Ride. Probably never heard of it. It's a 9-day camp where schools go ride bikes for 9 days. And we did that every year. Had TV in my room early days and SBS 9:30 during this part. SBS is a great channel post 9:30 for a 13-year-old boy. But mainly tour. The world movies got a little bit interesting around 11. South Park was always good as well when you weren't allowed. But Phil Liggett, again, a commentator you wouldn't have heard of, kind of like Richie Benaud of cricket. He was an unbelievable commentator, got me hooked on cycling, and since then I've got to the point where I wake up at 5 a.m. to watch the last 2 hours of the Tour de France stage.
Would you say it's a little bit like a F1 type operation. Is that wrong to say completely, or am I somewhat there? In terms of like team strategy, you've got like from my understanding, you have a team.
Yeah, I'm seeing a bit there. But there's individuals within the team that are more selfish. Yeah, there is a bit.
Is that sort of what I'm trying to? Yeah.
Well, the guy who wins the tour, Cadell Evans, for example, you don't know what team he rode for when he rode the tour.
So it's not about the team.
No, but I don't.
I
do, but do you?
No.
So but everyone knows when Ben Simmons wins, it's a bad example.
Yeah. Well,
he just got knocked
what's
out
his
by
name?
Philadelphia.
Yes. No, but like say Ricardo, for example, know that he's.
I actually wouldn't know what team he's with.
Well, he's
now.
with
He's
McLaren
with the
now.
The orange car?
He's with McLaren, but he was with Red Bull. So it maybe a little bit, but I think the teams in F1 are a little bit more bigger than what they are in cycling.
There's some cool things in cycling. Like there's some teams that struggle with selfish v selfless, and then there's some teams that absolutely dominate. And there's 8 guys that bury themselves for Cadell Evans to be on the podium.
Yeah.
No, it's. I go watch a stage of the tour tonight. Actually, not tonight. It's a boring stage tonight. Tomorrow night.
I wouldn't. You know what? I will because we're friends now, and I don't let friends down. I will do that with cycling. I've got to bring this up. Something very cool. You're good friends with Hamish Blake, which
he's a Melbourne Football Club fan, which helped. But he's a cyclist.
He's a cyclist. Yeah, and apparently he's like a fucking gun.
Unbelievable. So when we first rode together, he had an interest, and I was the athlete, and he was
because he used to be.
Andy looked a bit more trim. Early days, and so the first time we rode together, I actually was sort of on the tough parts of, like we did a ride down in Tasmania with lots of climbs, and on the tough climbs I was sort of dropping him, and then two years had been in the making of us riding together on a big day. We do little rides, but on a big day, and I didn't see him. He was gone. He was riding with the pros.
How good's that?
He's actually like dropped 20 kilos, fit as anything.
He's so fit. He's got an amazing rig. I saw this campaign he did for like the Australia with Zoe. He's
what a gig that is.
That's the best gig we've seen in the world. Like, they are literally sponsored by Australia. Like that just trumps any sponsorship
at all.
Like you cannot beat being Australia's sponsor.
Yeah, and
that's
they just
huge.
travel the world. The world would be the wrong answer there.
They did some cool shit, which was really cool. Yeah, he is a very cool guy, and that's very cool that you guys are friends. I feel it's a good match.
Yeah, he's sent me a text after every game this year, and early on it was like, great win, like Melbourne supporter stoked, great win, great goal, because I kicked a few goals in my first few games, and next text, great win, great goal, just doubling down. Now it's like an essay with like a bit of that Mike Goggins inspiration quote in there. Like, I don't know. Keep going. It's got to a new level. Yeah. I'm wondering when it's going to end. And in our losses as well, he carried on and said, I don't want to just not text you on the wins. I text you on the wins and text you on the losses as well. It's getting to a point where I can't wait for the final one. Yeah, we have to go the whole year now.
No, you have to.
We've both agreed that we have to go the whole year.
Yeah, that's very exciting. Maybe I can start messaging you as well. That'd be cool. Let's go to the football journey.
Yep.
Incredible journey that I know of so far. I don't know a lot about the start of it, but pick 34.
Yep.
2009. Take me back to that stage, because I think there's 2 things that someone my age knows about footy. One is that Scott Penderbury used to play basketball, and the other is Max Gawn used to smoke darts.
Aren't they 2 great stories?
Like they're the 2 stories that like and we're both, anyone just off a plane that comes
we're both captains.
We're both captains of AFL clubs. Like if you could hear that stories, both of them, any more times, shoot me. Yeah. But I actually don't know the origin of yours, and if it's even true.
It didn't get to you?
No. I didn't. I think I just zoned out after.
I thought James McDonald took it to GWS.
No, I'd gone by that stage.
Yeah, but I just thought most of the guys would have known that James McDonald. There is a lot of tax. I've heard stories come back to me.
Yeah, okay.
And apparently I was having a cigar in a limousine. No, look, I would love a party dart as a 17-year-old.
Yeah.
I mean, I think most people did. Well, I thought most people did. Yeah. Apparently, people who wanted to be footballers didn't. But and I think when I got drafted, I was driving down. I think I drove my mates out the night before, and as I was driving down to Casey, I looked in the back seat and there was a deck of darts there, and I just thought, why not?
Yeah.
And I lit up a dart, and albeit Carl Cheney was on the Monash Freeway as well. Who would have thought that there would have been a teammate who lived in the same area going to Casey at 7 a.m.
At the same time.
Yeah. Ballsy move doing it on the Monash. And I didn't see him. So he saw me and I didn't see him, which would have been great because I would have had both windows down.
Yeah.
obviously trying to circulate the air, the cigarette smell out of the car. And he would have just been, I can only imagine what his look would have been. Just like, just staring at me going, what is that bloke doing? And then I've got to the club. I don't know. I don't think I would have tried to cover up the smell because once again, I would have thought nothing of it. Now when you smell someone who's had a smoke, you go, you've had a smoke. And I'm just thinking, I would have reeked walking into the club that day. And then leadership group hit me up 2 or 3 days later. So everyone knew for like 2 or 3 days. And I was already a bit of like an introverted, which is funny because I'm an extrovert now. But when you first get to clubs, you're a bit introverted and shy. And I was already like going in, not talking to anyone, going home, not texting anyone the night. Like I was a bit of a loner. Yeah. Try and picture me about to get in trouble from the leadership group and no one talking to me for 3 days until the leadership group spoke to me and me not knowing what's going on. That was a phenomenal 3 days.
So you're at the club, no one speaking to you.
Well, just no one brought up the smoking thing. Yeah. I was carrying on. I was in rehab because I was a knee reco, drafted with a reco, which makes it all better. Like drafted with a reco, having a dart in the car, and it's still here. I remember the leadership group. We had 10-man leadership group. That's pretty, like it was a full semicircle.
Like a quarter of the list.
Full semicircle at Casey Fields, and we weren't sitting, we were standing. And they were spaced like almost COVID, like 1.5 meters apart. So it was quite daunting. And one person would be speaking, like Brad Miller was speaking all the way over here. And at the same time, Brett Maloney was over here and he'd come in. And then James McDonald, who wasn't the one you wanted to look at because he was the one that hated you the most. He was right in the middle, and that was pretty daunting.
I can imagine. That sounds
It got me off the darts.
Yeah, well, that's one way of getting off the darts. But it's funny, though, like I suppose, and again, not throwing any of these guys under the bus here, but I feel like a few of those guys, maybe in that leadership group, without knowing, a lot of them might not have had the authority to be telling you not to do anything wrong.
I needed the whack for the darts, and I completely, but I look back on that and I get footy culture, and I'm glad that I got to get drafted in that part of footy because now it's completely different. Like first years have more say than anyone, than captains now. Literally. So, but back then it was first year players. Yeah, you bide your time. You'll spoke when spoken to. That sort of setup, and I got so many things I would like to change from that era. But I was a different kid, and I was asked to be this stereotype drafted footballer that I was nowhere near being. And yeah, that first year, I'm lucky I'm still here, to be honest. Like probably the height would have helped a lot. And I played good footy when I finally, in the VFL, I played some good footy. But yeah, I'd change a few things about how football clubs used to be back then.
Let's, I suppose, go into that now a little bit. Like you look at Melbourne and the way you're going now versus back then. Like it's polar opposites really of a club, and without being like, I'm trying not to be disrespectful. It's almost a compliment in a way, but you look at what Melbourne used to be like in terms of just the reputation, I suppose, of the AFL. You think, fucking hell, like how is this club doing this? You know, like what the fuck? And you can imagine how annoyed supporters would be. But then to flip that and do a 180 and now be where you are on top of the ladder, it's actually quite incredible. Like there's still clubs that are still struggling to change their identity.
Yep.
How has it happened? Like it's such an incredible, because like it's fascinating. Like I'm probably speaking for, like I've been in a club like Carlton that's been on a similar trajectory. It probably didn't bottom out as much, I'd say, as Melbourne did, but maybe the bottoming out hasn't helped. It's sort of stagnated around a little bit longer.
Well, we bottomed out for a long time. 2006, Nathan Jones played finals, and I think the Neil Danaher sort of era at the end there was not too bad. Obviously, the 2000 Granny, we're speaking 21 years ago. It's crazy. And then, we had, obviously, the tanking saga, which I was the year after. So they tanked for me, which is, was a good, that's obviously a nice thing to have on the belt. And then the Mark Neeld era, which took the club to a really big low. And then Roosie came in and sort of started the culture that we needed to do. Well, almost not what Roosie was intending to do. He was trying to bring this hardline approach, but Roosie loves his family and loves to get away and loves his time off. And we were under Mark Neeld, which was like a 9 till 5. You get paid 9 till 5. You'll be here 9 till 5. We'll find stuff for you to do. And Roosie was like the opposite. He goes, no, I want to go home at 1, so you guys can go home at 1. And that, in the end, was exactly what we needed from where we were. And then slowly Goody comes, and I mean, we've had some disappointing news with Goody. 2019 was pretty bad after making a prelim. I've never been more sure that every team has talent. I mean, obviously we got some really good players in track and Clayton Oliver, but we had Jack Trengrove and Tom Scully, pick 1 and 2, that everyone would have taken 1 and 2. And we had Watsy at 1. I'm just starting to think we got the right people in development and right culture. Like every team has talent, and you look at some of like the clubs you've played for, GWS, who did get to prelims, but Gold Coast, they've had top 10 picks the whole way through, and Geelong haven't, and Geelong have been there the whole time. So yeah, I've never been more sure that culture, and I feel like we've got it right at the moment. But the funny thing is, one incident can almost bring a culture right back down.
Mate, you've nailed that. I couldn't agree more. And I think from my point of view, I've been at a club that's on one end of the scale versus another end of the scale. And when I was at Carlton, it was the most professional place in the world. You know, if you didn't weigh in at this time, it was, you're fucked. This is this. And then you went to the Giants, and some guys we'd be out warming up, and half the boys playing cricket inside, and they make it to the grand final. And I think it's like, for me, I get so annoyed when people say like, there's only one way to do it. I think, as you said perfectly, it was right for the group at the time.
Yeah.
But in saying that, I suppose there's had to be some bigger turning points. Does anything sort of stand out to you that has been like, oh, okay, fuck, we're onto something now? Like maybe it was the year that you sort of went backwards a bit with Goodwin that had to then go forward?
Well, there's certainly the Neil to Roos.
Yeah.
And then more recently, there's literally been, like, since Goody's come in, we've been trying to change what we want to do and what we want to be and who we want to be seen as. And that takes a while. Like, it's not just it looks like it's been a click of the fingers because we've just turned it on this year. But we feel like it's been something that's been building. And then we had a couple of meetings at the end of last year. We had a disappointing end of the hub. We lost 2 games in Cairns that we didn't want to lose. And then we started really well this year. We went in, we actually had a whole group play golf, and then we sat in the club rooms for 2 or 3 hours and nutted out what we wanted to be as a football club this year. And since then, it's really gone forwards. It helps winning, like a culture, trying to change a culture. We're trying to change a culture. It certainly helps winning. Is it the culture change that's making us win, or is it the winning that's helping the culture? We'll never know. I suppose we might know if we do lose a couple in a row, and then we can work out who we really are. But yeah, I'd say a little bit over the off season this year, but then mostly Goody coming in.
I like it. I think you're so right with the winning versus culture versus winning. I have a theory. I think football in general is momentum.
Yep.
And both of those two, culture and winning, play a massive role in that.
Yep.
It's all about momentum. It's all about capitalising at the right time. And I think that's the biggest thing. Like, as you've mentioned, there's a lot of clubs that are going really, really well. But if things don't go the way they do, they fall off quite quickly. And that's probably why you see clubs like Geelong and Hawthorn, not at an extent at the moment with the list they've had, but Geelong, West Coast to an extent, but predominantly Geelong, be that sustained success over a long period of time. And I think that's probably what is holding Melbourne in good stead now. It took so long. There wasn't like a jump and then a downfall. It's really been like a gradual growing process from it.
Well, I agree with you. We're sort of the imposters in the top 8 at the moment because the rest have been there. Port and Brisbane are on a rise as well. They've been there for a couple of years. But you look at Richmond, Geelong, Sydney, West Coast, these clubs have been there for ages. And then you look at the clubs that we've been surrounded by, like Essendon, Carlton, North Melbourne, St Kilda. Us 5 clubs have been sort of trying to fight in to get there for ages, and it just seems like winning is a habit. Something's got to change to get to that habit. So we think we were able to get there, but then again, we've got to continue this on.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. Because I'm presuming from sport that I've watched, when you do lose that momentum in any sport, it becomes quite hard to get it back.
Definitely. Really interesting point that I actually had down here because, I played with Tom Scully at the Giants. I wouldn't loosely say player, trained with him at the Giants. So he's an incredible player and just an incredible bloke.
I'd loosely say train. I didn't get anywhere near him a train.
Yeah, we were in the same locker room at a few times over the 2-year period, and it was awesome. Yep. He was a really nice guy.
We started the same running test, and apparently he finished, but I didn't too.
Yeah, we were part of the same workforce. Okay, we went to a Christmas party together once. But he, again, is one of my sort of most admired guys I've seen, the way he goes about it. and lesser alike of him, but guys like, as you said, Jack Trengrove, Luke Tapscott. Remember a guy that I really loved watching playing growing up, and he was in a competition in me, Gisberts. All these guys you're talking about before.
You've just named my whole draft.
Yeah, your draft. You're the last one left. And you did touch on it. But
You missed one, Jack Fitzpatrick as well.
Jack Fitzpatrick. Oh, she won't be happy with that. Yeah. It must have been a bit of beef for the two ruckmen in that one draft as
He's
well.
in the podcast game as well, isn't he, somewhere?
Oh, yeah,
I've
seen
him around.
Yes, somewhere. I don't scroll down that, because I normally just go to the top sort of
I definitely
1,
haven't
2,
listened to
3. So yeah, I normally just stay around the top. I don't normally have to travel down too far. So
you just rotate between you and Howie.
Yep. But I suppose the point I'm getting to is like, with that, you did touch on it, but how crazy is that you see that at clubs now? Like, what do you think is the problem with like high-end talent versus nurturing them properly? Because I think every young player that gets drafted, and I know I thought this when I was getting drafted, like, I'd love to go to a bottom team, I'll play straight away.
Yep. But
then you see guys that get drafted and they go to these teams like Geelong and stuff. It might take them a year to get in, but once they're in, they go better.
Yeah. I've never been more sure for a young person to become the best person they can be is part of the leadership role. So my role is to, Jake Bowie who's come in this year, is to make him feel as comfortable and turn him into the best person he can be. Whether he can play football from there, that becomes Choco's role and Goody's role and development coach's role. But I see my role as just creating such a safe place for him to be able to be his best and then go play the best footy he can. So going back on Trengrove and Scully, something was James McDonald, who I think was one of my best captains I've had, and I've had a few captains. Was it James McDonald, the leadership group, knocked around the safest space or culture from maybe David Neitz' era? Or was it the development coaches that we had wrong, or was the player just not good enough?
Yep.
So there's 3 different sort of elements there. But yeah, I think what we're getting right, Jace Taylor's done a wonderful job. The last 4 drafts we've nailed at the moment. It's pretty easy to be a good player in your first 3 or 4 years. They've got to keep that going. Well, actually, it's not pretty easy to be a good player in your first 3 or 4 years. But
I can attest to that. It's definitely not.
But it's going to be hard to maintain that, is what I'm saying. So Jace Taylor's done his role. Now it's over to me to make them feel as comfortable as possible and keep driving high standards and letting people be different and all that jazz. And then it's up to Choco, development coach. I'm not sure, did you have Choco at all at Giants?
No, I
just
didn't.
Missed him?
Yep.
And then obviously Goody and some of the other coaches to be able to develop him to be the best footballer.
It's massive, man, because you knowing that, and I think you would only know that from knowing what you've been through.
Yeah.
And I know that as well from a similar culture, but I think from my point of view, and what you just said there is, when you've got players that feel comfortable and they're happy at a club, they're going to help the younger players. But when you've got senior players that aren't happy or they don't even know themselves, why would they help younger players to develop through?
Yeah.
And that's what I feel like Melbourne have got now, and what you've just stated, because from every single person we've spoken to, every single friend of yours or anyone at Melbourne Footy Club, the one thing that has just been the direct correlation to you is the fact of your emotional intelligence and your connection to players. And that trumps your ability to play footy, to be the best ruckman, to be, whatever it is off field, but that's your biggest talent, is emotional intelligence, connecting with players. Do you think that is learnt from previous experiences, and why do you think it's so important, I suppose, in developing these guys?
100%. Like I'd love to be captain. I didn't put myself up to. I didn't demand I demanded the spot to my actions. I didn't demand the spot to my hand and say I want to be captain. But I love the role, and I see it slightly differently to some, because I've once again drafted with a Rico, and then had another one during my career. Played 50 VFL games, have been at the end of every contract wondering if I was going to get a new one. Have been times where I got a contract quite early and I was quite comfortable. Have been playing good AFL football. I've been dropped 13 times or something, which is a lot for someone that's still on a list. So I've been there, and I can sympathise.
Yeah, you've got my disease at the moment. It's just making up words.
With where everyone's at on the list. So someone who's in a long-term injury like Tomo, I know what he's going through. A little bit different. I was young and he's a mature player, so it might be a bit harder for a 27-year-old going through a knee reco. But and then the guys who are emergency week after week after week, which is the toughest role in football when you're non-stop emergency. I do know how to handle that conversation. And and obviously previous experience. My mind was a sponge when I was young, and I'm trying to fit into this stereotype of being a footballer that I definitely wasn't. Like Brad Green wore cargo pants one day to training. Next day I've got cargo pants. Like I'm straight out getting cargo pants. Like Brett Maloney one day came in and said, "Cool hat, man." I wore that hat for the rest of the year. Yeah. Like genuine sponge. Like I'm taking anything these guys are giving. And then I realised my role now to an 18-year-old coming in. If I said to Jake Bowie, he's young redheaded kid, if I called him a ranger first up, like what he's going to get from that compared to me saying like nice right foot there at training or something like that, just something easy like that. It's amazing how much 18-year-olds just are a sponge. They want to learn. They want to learn everything, not just footy. They want to learn how to live like a footballer and how to be a Melbourne footballer.
Yeah. Oh mate, that hits me.
I burned the cargo pants.
I like
cargo pants. Were called. When were you drafted?
2011.
You might have just got a bit of cargo pants.
No, I missed them, but I'm actually back on them. So I'm actually back into them now. Yeah. I try and get them early. I try and pick the trend and get on it early, so I can say I did that first.
Like the whole club was wearing cargo pants. I couldn't believe it.
I got cargo shorts from Target the other day. Target.
I came in wearing skinny jeans, which are also not a thing anymore.
No, I wear the fat boys.
But I came in wearing skinny jeans, which I thought were a thing in 2010.
So
and they go, "What are you doing wearing them?"
Yeah, you went real
cargos on, mate.
Yeah. Hey, one thing, again, I feel like I've stalked you because I'm assuming here, and don't assume because it makes an ass out of you and me, but I am assuming this from our conversation we've had and the way you lead, and something I'm trying to work on is I saw this really cool, I'm going to say concept about leadership a while ago, and I'm not good at this because I just want to talk all the time, and as a leader, like sometimes listening is the best thing to do, and it was saying something like, be the last person to speak in the room. Because by the time you've let everyone else speak, your opinion's probably going to change by the end of it.
Yeah.
And I thought, Viv Mitchell is a good friend of yours and a good friend of mine. He said, like, Gawny is so calculated. Like, he always sort of waits for people to do it, then you make your decision at the end. And I just want to know, is that something you actually try and do? Because for me, it's so hard not to just because I just want to, like, talk all the time.
Yeah.
But by the time I've spoken and then someone else gives their point, I'm like, fuck, I've changed my mind now. I probably should have said that.
I don't like speaking first. That is something. Might be a little bit of nerves as well. Like everyone still gets them. So and I do like speaking at some point, but I like to take my time and have a feel of the room. Deep down, I self-doubt, which I think most people do. And I self-doubt about, am I doing the right message? And on-field is the hardest part of that because on-field you're under extreme pressure. So that's something I've always had to fight through. And now as a leader, I'm trying to always upskill in my doubt and upskill knowing the game plan to an absolute T, knowing my teammates to an absolute T, to be able to convey the right message, but not doubt the right message because people can sense doubt straight away, especially under high pressure at the G. So the on-field stuff, I'm certainly still working on, and I still 100% would say Jack Gawny is he plays like a leader.
Yeah.
And he really leads by example. I play a different role, ruck. There's only one ruck and no one's ever played it, which is always unique. The other 42 players, apart from the backup ruck, have not played ruck, where most players have played every other position. So it's such a unique role, and we also sometimes it's like a 17-man defense, and then the ruck. Sometimes you're in your own game.
Yeah, it's just ruck v ruck sometimes.
Yeah. So it's a nice little thing to try and get into everywhere else, but they can't understand what you're doing at times. So a ruck captain's quite unique. There's a few of us now. Jared Whitson, Ben McAvoy. We've got a little crew going. Me and Witsy, tallest coin toss ever, 208 centimetres both. Oh, he's 209, I think. Yeah. It's quite a unique position, ruck, and I love it. But yeah, my on-field stuff is still got a bit to go. Like I'm not where Vines is on that, but Vines is also leads by example. But then he can sometimes be so focused on the ball that sometimes he forgets about the structure or something like that. So we're a good balance.
It's awesome. Is there a ruck code? Is that what you're just saying then? Like I feel like there's this ruck code with like a few guys. Do you really like respect each other? Do you critique each other's games? Do you get around each other? Like every other position on the field, you back versus forward, it's quite niggly or aggressive. But I feel like ruckman sometimes you sort of look after each other a bit.
It's just unique. Like there's literally, you'd say full forward and full back are the only other position where it's like...
You're just together all day.
And you're judged on the other guy's performance.
Yeah.
Where the other 16 people just run around chasing the nurry. And like Clayton Oliver gets given best on ground if he has 37 and 3, but Merritt could have 50.
Yeah.
But Clayton Oliver still gets best on ground. If my opponent had 50 touches, I'd be at Casey. Like it's just the ruck roll is so delicate in that part.
Flawed,
like you've really basically, if you haven't watched the game, like are you going to watch Gold Coast Richmond tonight?
I would definitely replay that and code it. I'll probably watch it from the third angle, actually.
We'll both go on the AFL app and check the stats after and see what's done. And we'll look at the ruck battle. Chol v Gold Coast don't have a ruck at the moment.
He's not Wits.
Let's say Zach Smith was playing.
Yep.
And we'll look. Zach Smith had less touches than Chol. Chol had more hit-outs. Chol won the battle.
Yeah. Gotcha.
And that's the ruck battle for some reason. To majority of people. Obviously, it's a little bit more technical to coaches and rucks, but... That's why it's unique. And you're playing each other pretty much the whole day. I've got Luke Jackson now, which helps.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've got Mummy this week. I'm presuming team's out. I'm presuming he's playing. And it's like the 10th time I've played him. Like how many people get to say they've gone 1-on-1 with someone 10 times?
I feel they definitely only bring Mummy in for like when they need to try and intimidate someone. So I can categorically guarantee he'll be playing this week.
Yeah, and like I've played Brody Grundy 6 or 7 times, and he's pantsed me, then I've pantsed him, then we've had a stalemate, then like it's just I find it unique. But there is some good characters in there, but there's too many guys that are too athletic now. Like it's
who's some guys that you just don't want to ruck against? If you don't have to give up your secrets now. But
these young guys are looking good.
Yeah,
like I played Sam Draper on the weekend.
He sets the tone,
and we had a good battle. But watching him against Hawthorn, I'm like, I was actually going into this game going, I've got a 10 gamer, and I'm a bit worried. I think I might have to play on him, like tag him. Obviously, it's been set by Brody's done some amazing things in the ruck game, like he's follow up and goal kicking and inside 50s, and like he's added these stats to our stat sheet, which we never had. Nick Nat just dominates centre bounce, like. Not people just think it's the ruck work, but I think he's 5th for clearances. Like that part of the ground, he makes it his own. And people go, oh, he might not take many marks. But my number 1 goal is centre clearance. My 3rd goal is marking. So he's winning like the ruck number 1 goal. And then there's like guys like Tom Hickey, Scott Lysette, Riley O'Brien. Like it's just everyone's quite unique. They've got different strengths. I've gone on way too much about rucks.
No, we like the ruck chat, and we will never not appreciate it because a lot of us don't get to play ruck. Not that I'd want to, but I appreciate it.
Everyone always says, like, Sean Burgoyne, 400 games, played every spot on the ground but ruck.
Yeah.
It's a great line, isn't
it? With the midfielders, I suppose, coming through, who is the modern day Mark Jamar and Brent Baloney? Is what I want to know.
The modern day Mark Jackman. That was
one of the best bromances of ruck v Rover of all time.
It was internal as well.
Yeah.
They were best friends. Yeah. They did everything together.
Wasn't that funny though? Didn't they have the same car?
Yeah.
And like there's like matching number plates and
they
stuff?
were bachelors till late. They both were bachelor all the way till 28 maybe.
Yeah.
So they lived a life. And back then when I think they lived both on Chapel.
Yeah.
Brett Maloney, I remember I lived with him in my first week. It was the old draftee, lived with an older player. Brett Maloney had a bachelor pad in Pran, and we went out in his Range Rover, and he'd park in no parking on Chapel. I'm like, this guy's the boss. This is footy. So I parked in no parking, and my car got towed. But modern day Mark Jamar, Brett Maloney. I love Clayton.
Yeah.
Clayton's strength is first possession and clearance. Track's getting better at that. Track's an unbelievable game breaker. And Vines is the guy we go to when we need it, when we need the clearance, and then Harmsy. So we got a good little 4 in there.
Who's the one that like gets to you first and just like start? I know what midfielders are like, and if you tell me that there's always a plan when you go in there, you're lying. Sometimes it's just literally there he is. I'll put it to him. Who's like the bloke that's just the pig? He's real hungry.
Well, Clayton and I are quite unique because we're usually last to the stoppage together.
Okay.
So. Track and Jack get there first, and me and Clayton for some reason always seem to be going over together. So we've got a plan before they even get there. Sorry, Chris and Jack. We work this out in the back 50. Centre bounce, it depends how we feel. We each feel like we got strengths. So if We feel like we're beating the team by me hitting it forward. That's Clayton.
Yep.
We feel like wrap around. I'm probably
Hey, can you
getting
not?
into it too
I
much.
think you're just giving away.
Well, Clayton can get to any part of the circle,
okay.
but I like to think I use all four quite evenly.
good.
Unlike Mark. I remember J-Mar missed a game one day and I rucked. And Brett Maloney had some interesting choice of words if I didn't put it on the minute. So we call it by the 12-hour clock, so 12, 1, 2, 4. Brett Maloney's like 4:03 and put it there. I'm going to work my man in at 3:58 and I'm going to hit 4:03. And if you hit it to 4:15, I won't get the ball. So that's how good Mark J-Mar was.
Yeah,
he put the ball literally on a 5-set piece.
He has probably the best highlights reel of centre clearance goals you've ever seen. And it's still a good song too. I think he posted it himself, but I'm going to get on that and check it out.
The good thing is J-Mar got All-Australian that year and Maloney didn't.
Oh.
Shows the selectors were looking at the ruck.
Good. Being a dominant midfielder in the comp, I'll say it. There's games where teams that are rucking against you 9 times out of 10, they're probably actually just trying to ruck to your hits. Who do you hate? Not, their personality, but who do you hate playing against as a midfielder that just tries to shark your hits, that will probably read your game, try and read it the best?
Your boy's good at it.
Cripper?
Yeah, Cripper's very good at it. He's such a strong body. The noise that comes around when we're playing Cripper, like Clayton goes, Track, you take him. Nah, Track will be like, Jack, you take him. Like, it ends up we need all three of them on him. But yeah, he's very good, especially like a boundary throw-in. Because a boundary throw-in, you're pretty much playing in your V. So he knows where it's going, unless you start getting a bit over the top and putting them behind you. But he knows where it's going.
He's so big. His nickname's Crip, obviously for Cripper, but they call him Drip as well because he's so sweaty.
Yeah,
and
right.
do you know what? Joel Selwood obviously wears the oil, the liniment. We can't speak tonight. I don't know what it is, but he has his own liniment on himself, which is perspiration, and he's so sweaty, which actually makes it a lot harder. Yeah, so Drip is his nickname.
Were you an oil man?
No.
There's only 3 players in the comp that do it.
I wish I had the guts to do it.
Buddy, Hawk and Selwood. Danger?
I think Hawk and Sal would do it. Danger sometimes, I think.
Buddy definitely does it.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a big flex. I really do like that.
I don't think I've ever slipped off a tackle. I think that's what they say they do it for, is I'm hard to tackle because if you grab my arm, you're going to slip off. I don't think that's happened.
Do you know what I don't know if this happens a lot or just to me, but on the rare occasion when I did tackle someone, I'd always cop a face full of the sticky stuff.
Don't tackle Clayton.
Oh mate, it just always come and I'd be like, fucking hell, what have you got this shit in my eyes, everywhere?
I've got a real, can I say brain fuck?
Yes.
Yeah, I've got a real brain fuck at the moment about Grippo.
Grippo, that's a word.
Because sometimes I wear it and I don't mark, and then sometimes I don't wear it and I mark. And then if I've had a couple of weeks where I've had some bad marking games, I'm loading in the Grippo and it works the other way, and then I take the Grippo off and I've all of a sudden had the best marking day ever. So
I know exactly what you're going to say.
If you're watching Melbourne GBS this week and I doubt you're watching the 3 minutes beforehand when we're in our huddle and when the trainer comes up with a Grippo, it's a genuine puzzling moment for me. I'm sitting there going, am I taking it or am I not taking it?
Because some people grab so much and they go, I'll grab it later. Never work because it falls off. But what I would do, and I would say don't do this because it didn't work for me, was I'd grab a little bit, rub it on, then rub it on the back of my shorts.
Yeah.
So you put it on, but then you take it off.
Yeah.
But you don't want too much. Because I think that's when you get yourself into trouble. When your fingers are sticking together, you're like, I'm in a bit of trouble here. This isn't going to work.
What I find works is I'll put a tiny bit on and then go in the centre bounce and play with the mud.
Yeah.
Tom McDonald there's a new brand that's really, really hard. Almost like could stick poster on the wall type setup.
Yeah.
And he, at training, guy had a set shot and it stayed in his hand and he hooked it. He hooked it. So he's got an actual issue with when it comes to goal kicking. Yeah. He's got that much grippo on. And he makes the ball real grippo. So if you're in his lane,
it's so annoying.
Game day, if you're in his pre-game lane for kicking, the ball was sticking. That's how much impact he's had on the ball. But centre bounce wicket, I'll just rub my hand in there, get a bit of mud on it.
Like it. One thing about you, again, I assume a lot, but I feel like everyone sees Maxwell and they say, oh, this guy's so happy-go-lucky, jovial guy, captain, nice guy, gun footballer. But I think everyone would be kidding himself if they thought that there wasn't something that's calculated behind that in terms of on-field performance, mindset, the way you go into a game, the way you prepare, the way there's a self-belief, or there's either something you do that makes you who you are. Would I be right in saying that there's something that separates you from the rest? Because I don't think you get to where you are just laughing around and doing what you do.
My wife would say yes. She thinks I'm incredibly anal Monday to Friday. In terms of, like, I know exactly what I'm doing at different times. I have to get to the beach almost every day. And if I'm getting home at 7, I'm in the beach at night. And she finds that very weird. But that's something during the week. But when I was in and out, getting dropped 13 times in a row, Neil Craig sat me down one time and told me and Watsy to leave the change room because we're too jovial in the change room. We're starting to affect other players. So we had to go in our own room at Marvel Stadium and throw a ball to each other. Phenomenal times. Like, now you walk into a change room and it's the most jovial place ever. Like, the serious guy, Vines, has to go into his own room.
I got told, and look, I'm not comparing myself, I got told once that I had to stop laughing and smiling at training once. I got sat in the leadership
It's
group.
the old school coach, that boomer coach.
Yeah.
Choco doesn't mind it, which is good. And then, so I thought, all right, I'm getting dropped a bit. They reckon I'm jovial. Before West Coast one week, we're over at Subi. I said, all right, I'm going to be on for the whole 2 hours of prep, which is too long for prep. But if I ever get to coaching, I'll try and cut it down. I was on. I would have had 400 balls against the wall, catching them all.
Boxing.
High-fiving, boxing.
Oh, that's a worst.
I got everybody up. I was flying. I'd played my game. I literally went out there and it's the worst game of AFL play I've still played today. Actually, no, I got subbed off with 0 once. Oh, no, 1. But this one was bad. And from there I said, no, I'm going to be the person I want to be and the person that I feel comfortable being, and that'll make me perform the best. And I'm pretty much jovial right up until the final warm-up. And then I'm on. When I say jovial, I'm laid back. I'm not making jokes. I'm not distracting anyone else. I run for my own thing, but I'm very particular Monday to Friday. My schoolmates would always say, like, I would miss 21st, 30th. I'd miss them if it's on a Friday. My game's on a Sunday, and they're like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Nah, I'm in my mode."
Yeah, like that. Yeah, I probably didn't miss enough of them. I don't think. Unfortunately. Yeah,
but then I can let my hair down like the best of them.
Yeah.
As you probably think with the social data at 17, I did not lose all of my partying ability. I lost the darts, but not my sense of a beer. But yeah, like, I'm way into game mode already for GWS. Would have ticked off a lot of things that I want to do during the week. And then it actually gets better the closer to the game.
That's cool, because even, for, again, just looking at the way I think we've been taught early days in AFL, it's like, if you don't do this and you're not serious, you're not going to play well. For a captain of an AFL club to do a podcast midweek before a massive game, I just don't think a lot of players would do that. Like, a lot of players would be like, no, I've got to zero in. But you have this incredible balance of, like, being able to have fun but then switch on when you need to.
I've got my line. Me and Scott Pendlebury were asked to...
Basketball and dart, man.
Yeah. He's come up a bit, Pendles. We were asked to do a jump in the ice bath for Freeze MND 20 minutes before the game. I said, I've got my limits. Like, I'm all for it. I love Neil Danner. I love MND. But you want me to go out and perform. Yeah, I'm not going to jump in an ice bath 20 minutes before the game.
No.
And then I said, how about we go to... What's the baths down in Sydney called?
Bondi Icebergs.
Bondi Icebergs, early in the morning. Sitting there going, they just... Lucky Pendles is, like, very...
He's pretty ruthless.
Yeah, I'm not going to do it.
I like that.
So then we sent Howie and Jack Varney, who were injured, which is good. So I've got my limits. I like to be in my own space a lot, which is going to be interesting because Jess is pregnant.
Congratulations.
Don't know how we're going to run with that.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, I know how we're going to run with it.
Yeah, you will. I assume how you know. Yeah.
But the whole, like, when I get home from training after captain's run, it's known as Max Arvo.
Yeah.
Like, if something interrupted that Arvo, like, Jess would hear about it.
Yeah.
And Max Arvo's not much. It's sitting on the couch.
Yeah.
With the fire on. But now, kid in there, you start thinking, I don't think Max Arvo's a thing.
No, unless your son, if you have a son, his name's Max.
Yeah, then we can join in.
Yeah, join in together. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. Maybe we'll do another pod after that.
Yeah.
I know you've got many thoughts on big things, but I just want to get a little bit of chat about AFL as a bigger picture, because from what you said before, assuming you like the international games and you model things off them, you see how they've grown. Like, for example, the NBA and all these types of things. What do you think the AFL is doing at the moment that we can improve on? Like, I've probably pictured this a lot more since I've been outside of footy, but to still think that some of our top players are getting paid the same as what our CEO is pretty crazy. I spoke to Nick Stone, who is actually a podcast next week that's coming out, and he's this incredible mind. I don't know if you've heard Nick Stone before, but he started Bluestone Lane in New York and played with Hawthorn and Collingwood, and unbelievable guy. The way he did it just changed my whole mind on this, and I was like, I can't fucking believe we're still in this model. I know it's hard to comment on that you're a captain, but...
It is a different league. I think that's what makes it quite unique as well. I understand the money side of things. Like we generally are a small country and TV ratings aren't that high, and I get that. And sponsors are not going to pay what sponsors are paying in NBA. I just thought was Motorola on top of one of the. I didn't realize Motorola was still a brand.
I used to love the V3.
NBA had a Motorola brand.
Yeah.
So I understand all that, but I think we could grow the game with representative games a lot more. I think players are pretty keen to play representative games.
I'd love that.
I think especially with like all these border restrictions, I've never been more keen to put the blue V on.
100%.
I've got to get picked first, but like I'd be that keen to play for Victoria. I feel like real, like anyone bagging Victoria? Nah, Victoria's done it well. Well, we haven't, but like I'm pro Victoria. Like come at me, South Australia. You haven't let us in, and you're making Geelong do these.
And you send us into another lockdown as well.
Yeah, Geelong are doing these awful restrictions to go play a game of football, and who was the other team? Collingwood. Like, nah, South Australia v Big V, let's bring it on.
Yeah, that's such a good point. Because, I don't know if this is public knowledge for everyone, but I only found out that, the State of Origin, obviously, with Rugby League, they copied that off us. We gave it up, and now it's like one of the biggest sporting events in Australia.
The easiest thing for them is it's Queensland v New South Wales. We would genuinely have, like, WA v, and South Australia are going to be pissed off by this, but WA and Vic have the best teams at the moment.
Yeah.
Judging by Tom Brown, who put something out pre-State of Origin Rugby League, like you look at those teams. Not that I follow Tom Brown on Twitter. To be fair, I did a cull of all AFL on Twitter.
Yeah,
it got too much.
It does. Yeah,
did it in Manly last year. We had a hub in Manly for 2 weeks, and that was another thing I said to the group. I said, let's live and breathe Sydney for a bit. I tried to get everyone to get off their apps, and most people did. Tomo still reckons he has all his AFL apps deleted.
It's not true.
I highly doubt that. He's hot on the press. And I culled everyone. I love Twitter because it gives me cycling news, and there's no mainstream cycling news. It's not on who's your mate from Channel 10?
Nick Butler.
Yeah, he doesn't report on
I'll get him to do that for you.
On the sport for me.
I'll get him to do that.
I'll have to go on Twitter. But culling all the AFL media on Twitter was one of the best things I ever did. And living and breathing Manly. Like, we're in Manly.
How nice is Manly?
I could walk the streets and no one knew anything about football. And when we were in Manly, it was the biggest swell of the last decade. We were there for it.
Sydney and Manly and Manly in general, like they are some of the most beautiful coastline in Australia.
I don't know where I was before that. State of Origin.
Yeah. I don't even know where we went with that.
Yeah, I'd be, and even like I don't know how you can get the Australian the whole field playing for Australia.
Yeah, I think you'd have to have 4 teams. You'd have to have WA, South Australia, Victoria, and then like a dream team.
But I'm just trying to think, would Stephen May from Darwin love playing with Jeremy Howe from Tassie?
But I think they would find, what's that saying? The niches are in the riches. The riches
Which way you put
are
it?
in the niches. Is that the saying? But it's meant to be niches. It's like a play on words. It's funny.
Yeah.
Laugh. And anyway, the riches are in the niches, with the riches are in the niches. So maybe the niche of being in a small dream team of having those guys together.
I'm not going to lie. I don't know what you said.
Yeah. I'm saying all those guys.
Are you agreeing with me or disagreeing?
I'm agreeing with you.
No, I think you're disagreeing with me.
I'm disagreeing with you because I'm saying 3 big teams and then you've got one of just all guys coming together.
The Allies.
The Allies.
Yeah.
That was the team. Okay.
I could have helped you out real early
you
then.
could have just saved me from that, and we're not cutting that out either.
Okay.
Okay. I like it.
Yeah.
Let's channel
Well,
that.
I'm just like, how do we grow the game? We need to play more games.
Well, does Tassie have a team? Should Tassie have a team next year?
Yeah, because we need to play more games.
100%. But what do you do, though? This is what I don't understand. Is if you put Tassie as a new team, there's 19 teams. So does one team have to relocate, or do you make 2 new teams, or do you have...
I'd say bring in more teams. But that's me with very...
little knowledge of
what bringing in a team costs. And
I'd love to see Tassie have a team.
Yeah. We have to somehow gain the full country support. We can't have two states not know who we are.
Definitely. You're a businessman. I like it. Hey, side hustles. I wouldn't call them side hustles because you got heaps. To finish up, mate, I just want to go through a lot of your stuff that you got because I'm heading to your wine bars now. You've got one. You're going to have another one. Talk us through this. How'd you actually start this? Why are you passionate about hospitality? And yeah.
East End Wine Bar in Camberwell is my first little baby. I love hospitality. My mum's crazy hospo. She's been in it for years.
What's she got?
She's got a little cafe in the country now. She moved, did a little city to country change as soon as I turned 18. They said, get out and go find some friends.
What's the cafe called?
Olive at Lock, in a place called Lock.
Where's Lock?
On the way to Inverloch. There's way too many locks there.
Makes sense.
In that Wonthaggi, Inverloch, Currambara area. So she's got that, but beforehand she had cafes in Sandringham, and funny enough, she was the school canteen lady when I was growing up.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was, mate, lunch order
How
every
good was
day.
a lunch
But
order, man? Did
I
you used
was
to write it on the brown bag?
Yeah, but Monday to Thursday I was lunch order but a sandwich, and then Friday I got lunch order and it was a pie or a hot dog.
Yeah, that's huge. I used to love lunch orders.
Where was I?
Your mum's cafe.
So I wanted to be in hospo. I originally thought cafe. Everyone thinks cafe. There's that many cafes in Melbourne. I'm sure everyone who wants to be in hospo, their first thought is cafe.
Yep.
And most people seem to be going with it. And then I thought that's way out of my depth. That's way too hands-on for me. You need to cut costs and wages as much as possible, so the owner's got to work. And it didn't seem like something I was really passionate about. And the two guys that I've met through literally going to their cafe, and we were talking things all the time. And one day I said, "You boys want to do another cafe?" And they said, "Nah, yeah, we want to do another cafe." And then one day we all agreed, and we said, over a wine at a wine bar, we said, "Why are we doing a cafe? Let's do a wine bar. We all love wine, and we all love hospo. Let's combine the two." And we felt like the wine bar we were at was like a cool, like Toorak Cellars. I think most people,
yes, I've heard of that.
Have heard of it or been there, or and we're like, yeah, let's do something similar. And then we put our minds together. We created something, and it's gone really well. To a point where we're going to open our second, bit more of a restaurant-y feel. This one, a bit more. Have you been to Marion on Gertrude Street?
I have. That's near my hood.
It's like my favourite place in the world.
Yeah, I'm a Northsider.
Similar to that approach now.
Very cool.
So more food.
You're going to bring that, because I know it's in Kew. Is it in Kew?
Yeah. Could you call it? It's right on the corner of Kew and Hawthorn. Okay,
Kew and Hawthorn. So are you going to bring that north side feel, or are you going to leave that in the north side?
I'm going to... It's a great question.
You're going to leave it there, aren't you?
Well, we've gone over and over and over plans.
Yeah.
We're actually just got our liquor license, so it's really exciting. We can start building. It's quite an interesting part of Glenferrie Road. Like Rococo's there. Like Rococo's like this.
Okay, so you're just at the maybe a K from the train station.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like Rococo's an institution of Glenferrie Road, but it's like it was built in 1960 or something. Like it's like how new do you go into that area, because that area is so happy with what they've got. So it's going to be an interesting little delicate approach. Hospitality, you know pretty early if you've nailed it or not.
Yeah. Can I come to the launch?
Yeah, come to the launch. We'll do a launch.
That?
It's all around the same time as me having a kid.
Wow.
And I told Jess this. So I'm like, well, we decided to do the wine bar first. The kid came as a bit of a later thought. So in the end, priority.
Yeah. The wine bar.
The launch happens the same day.
Yeah.
And also Derby Day is in and around that time as well.
Oh wow. Okay, we're gonna have a big.
Which is a great day, Derby Day. If I'm 2 legs up on the quaddy, I don't like. What do? Do I go to the Burf or?
You go to the wine bar, then just go back to the quaddy. Yeah, that's big. That's huge.
So that's all really exciting. That's what I want to do.
Have you got another? Is it the same name or are you?
Same boys, but we'll go a different name.
Yeah. Can we share it yet, or you haven't got that yet?
We haven't. We're in between two with the name. We can share the spot. It's going to be that top of Glenferrie Road.
Yeah.
It's and that's something I want to do post footy. Like I'm in love with hospitality. I love what it brings. I hate what it's had to go through over the last 18 months, which I've been in. Lucky enough, we were able to handle it well. Our landlord was really good and came to the party, so we were able to get through this period. But I know lots of businesses that haven't. So it's pretty ballsy to start something in this unforeseen future of what we're going to have. Is COVID normal going to be something that's going to hit hospitality for 10 years? It probably is. So we're going to be on limited capacity and stuff like that. So it's a pretty ballsy call, but it's passion and it's what I'm passionate about. And hopefully I don't have to go out and actually get a real job. I can just do hospo the whole time. Although that's too harsh on hospo people, because that is a real job. People do work pretty hard at hospo. Yes, they do. In fact, they work the hardest, in my humble opinion.
Mate, what's next for Max Gawn? You have got a million things on. I'm assuming there's going to be some on-field success there. What do you want to do? What is your plans with from here on out?
I like this question because people always say, and it's a very podcast feel, and I'm sure you do it a lot. People would say there's more to life than footy. What is it? But in the end, I've dedicated pretty much my whole life to winning the flag. There's not much more to life than footy right now. Like, I'm still, once I finish footy, I'll go run my wine bars, be the best husband I can be the best son I can be, hopefully be the best dad I can be at some point. Like, I will do that, and that is a big passion of mine. Footy's pretty high on the agenda at the moment. Like, I've been in a bad team for 10 years. And we got a chance to do something pretty special this year. Like, that's pretty high on the agenda at the moment. That'll be my first phone call. If I had like 5 phone calls all coming at once, I'd screen the wine bar, screen my mum, screen Jess, and I'd pick up Goody. Like, right now, that's pretty hot at the moment. But what's next? Like, apart from obviously trying to win a flag, I've got a family. Like, that's pretty exciting. I'm trying to get as many questions as I can into people around. I'm asking Tom McDonald's wife, Ruby McDonald, is literally the best mum in the world. She's got 2 kids. She comes to the footy with a 4-day-old the other day, just like dominating life. I've asked if I can pay her $50 a day to have an AirPod in my ear, just to run me through
what happens.
If I'm in trouble in a situation and I need help, she's going to give me the best advice. Yeah. Like, not Google. Like, she is the Google of mothering. So I reckon she'll be able to run me. Someone told me 11 diapers a day the other day, which is crazy. Well, like, what's the point of feeding them 11 times if they're not keeping it in? Another one I heard. You know they're the hungriest when they first come out? When they're first born, they're hungry. They need to be fed straight away. But I'm confused because aren't they feeding the whole time in there?
Maybe because they cut the umbilical cord. No more food.
So they got to be fed straight away.
I have heard that though.
I'm real interested in my role.
Apparently, look, women's bodies are like the most incredible thing in the world in terms of just being able to somehow support a young kid, like a young baby. Like, you know, my sister-in-law's got 2 kids. My sister just had a baby, and from all reports from their partners and everyone around, you just go, how the fuck can a person do this? Yeah. It's actually astonishing.
When Jess has a bad day in pregnancy, which happens, especially early on in the first trimester, I try and calm her down, which doesn't work. Apparently it works the other way, but I say, your body's a wonderful thing. I wish I could have a baby. Like, you are so lucky that you can go through this. It doesn't help.
No. I'll keep that in mind.
But it is a wonderful thing that like the whole
it's
process,
pretty crazy when you think about it.
I feel like I'll be a bit of a bystander on the day. I feel like I'll stand just in the back corner and go Jess. But who knows? I could get a bit of adrenaline and get hands on.
Okay. Well, good luck with that. Thank you. Mate, Max, it's been unbelievable, to be honest. I'm hoping we are friends.
We're friends. Am I in the... So, Dyl Friends, so I'm a friend?
Yes, friend of the show.
That's exciting. So, only friend of the show?
No, friend. We're outside. We've already chatted. We're going to catch up and do some things and golf.
Have we?
We will.
Okay.
We're going to chat about that.
Let's...
Golf.
We'll get Tomo. We'll have mutual friends galore. Tomo, Dom Tyson.
Yeah.
Sam Frost. Get a bit of Sam Frost in here.
Yes, Frosty.
Pat McKenna.
I actually met Pat McKenna at the AFL outduction camp, which is where you go. Which is actually where you go when you.
Didn't my mate Jack Fitzpatrick do a speech there? Was that the year you finished?
Yeah, no. Well, I've been to 2 actually. I've been to 2 outduction camps, so I've met them both times.
Recommend
I'm actually
them?
the first player to go to 2.
Recommend them?
Right, I've got 3. You're allowed to go to 3.
Yeah.
As soon as COVID finishes, I am going back again, 100%. It is like it's like a footy trip mixed with like. It's like this is your life of your AFL career. You just meet guys that just can bitch and moan about the same things, and it's just so relatable. It's like it's nearly like therapy, leaving and just transitioning outside the AFL. Together. Yeah,
it's one of those ones that you hope when people say, "What are you going to do?" You hope you've got something because you don't want to be that guy.
Well, hopefully people that leave there, we all have no idea what we're doing, but it's good. I think, to be honest, a lot of the people that go to those camps, they're the ones that are good and they're like transitioning out, but the ones that really need to go don't go, which is actually unfortunate. But the AFLPA, as you know, do incredible things, and we love the support of all the AFL players that they give. They have been unbelievable for me, and I know a lot of other guys. I don't mind plugging them here, there, but I love the AFLPA.
Thanks to our good friends at the AFLPA keeping this going.
Mate, thank you so much for coming in. I know it's been a pretty good show, hey? I really enjoyed it.
Couple of nods.
Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It's talking about me, and it tends to be a topic I'm pretty good at.
Yeah. Would you, maybe, I'm putting you on the spot here, but we're going to do some more things with Dyl Friends in my new studio.
Yep.
You should come in.
Well, I'm on...
You're on the record.
We're on the record.
Yeah, you're on the record.
I'm on the record right now. I'm not going to say, nah, mate.
That's what I mean.
I'm going to go back to my own...
And you're on camera as well.
Yeah.
So...
I just worked out vodcast as a thing.
Yeah, it is.
I didn't realise vodcast.
Yeah, we've got some episodes on YouTube.
I didn't realise people watched podcasts.
They do. You'll see it. They're watching you.
Stone Island hat. That's why I wore it.
That's why you wore it. So yeah, I just didn't get you on the record saying that you were keen to come in.
Yeah, mate. I am here. I am ready. Cool. Do I get one of these Tomo t-shirts at some point?
You get everything. You've got the 2 new hoodies, actually.
Hoodies?
And you got the Slab of Bloke in a Bar. You got everything there, and whatever you want.
Will it look good with the Lulu jacket? So
I've got to get... No, you do look fantastic.
I'm contracted to say Lululemon every 4th word. So.
Yeah. yeah.
I have to make sure I say it.
Yeah. It'll look fantastic. But no, mate, best of luck for the rest of the year. I'm so excited for the Dees. In all honesty, now that I've left footy, actually, you know, you have that up and comer. Like at the moment, I'm really getting on you like the Dogs. You know, like people getting on the Dogs. Yep. But then you're going to win the flag, and then I'll probably start hating you again. Yep. You know that happens. Like everyone loves teams for a bit, and then when you get good, I'm going to not really like.
I think I wore a Dogs jumper in 16 for the Gawny. 17, I definitely wore a Richmond jumper. I think I was on Swan Street. Yeah, I think I was there at 2 a.m. in 2017. Like you get really hyped up and really involved, and then like 2020, I'm like, geez, get me out of Gold Coast and keep them there. Yeah. Like I don't want to be anywhere near them.
So you want that enviedness, but I
was a Richmond supporter as well, which was crazy. Like, imagine if I didn't get drafted, I would have been able to see three flags. Three. Like Richmond supporter was like, nothing was happening.
Huge.
Yeah, knife. Richo's the king. And then all of a sudden they win 3 flags. In my prime, I would have been 27, like on Swan Street, just partying. Why'd I get drafted?
You've nailed this. I don't think anyone's done it better. Well done.
Thank you.
Incredible. Best luck for this year. Good luck with life. You don't need it, but we're friends. See you in the studio soon.
Good man.